Hey, it is the Flash After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. Tonight we're breaking down Season 3, Episode 18, called Abra Kadabra. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It's magic.
Oh my god. Tauri, what a song. Why'd you choose this song?
So I could hit that specific note, you know?
Oh my god. Well, I'm so happy we did. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's lovely to see you. It is just Tauri and I tonight. This is Jeff speaking.
Yeah, boys club. do.
The girls are out on assignment and other things, but we can't
Yes.
reveal that. It's a secret. It's an abracadabra secret.
Totally. They're on Earth 6.
Yeah. They're with Gypsy. Let's do some quick intros though. I'm Jeffrey Masters, a tweet from Jeff Masters1.
And I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me at Tauri J, Tauri.
Yes, usually when we have the full panel here, we like to interact with the chat. We'll tweet with you guys. We're not so skilled as to have a one-on-one conversation and do that as well. So we would love to tweet with you guys throughout the week. Feel free to subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, etc. We love hearing from you.
Yes, please.
Yes. On the whole, I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. I feel like it was really layered, and there was a lot of like really cool sequences.
I agree.
Yeah.
The chases, we got a lot of teamwork, which you know I love.
Mm-hmm.
I also like that they kicked it off with a really just like easy, fresh start. We had like the double date with Cecile. She's getting the gossip, the wedding lingo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm most upset about in the history of this show?
What?
The most unrealistic thing to ever happen is that someone has 4 tickets to Hamilton and they don't want them.
Yeah, right?
Are you kidding me?
Maybe she's already seen it like a bunch of times. She was like, oh man, Hamilton again. Or she's a purist where she only wants to see it with the original cast. Anything beyond that, throw it away.
Okay, but 4 tickets, she could sell that in the black market and make $4,000 easy.
That's true, but she'd rather use it to bribe her new, I guess, daughter-in-law? I mean, they're not married, but you know what I mean.
Ish, going to be. No one's married yet.
Yeah, no.
You're right. I was just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'll believe everything else that ever happened, but not that. But I liked like the wedding like talk.
Yeah.
Like Iris doesn't have friends that we see on the show, so I was like, oh, we've missed this, having someone get excited.
Yeah, I until you said that, just realized that her only friends are the like Flash gang.
Barry's friends.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think that it's very telling for a lot of how the show is as well.
Yeah.
I'll get to something about Gypsy that kind of bothers me. No, I'll say it now, actually.
Okay, do it. Jump in there.
Is that okay, Tauri? Is that okay?
Oh, hey. I'm not going to stop you, bro.
Thank you so much, brah.
You're welcome.
So, freaking Gypsy, one of my favorite like guest co-stars that ever pop in and out.
So cute.
Came back, so cute, so fun, just a badass female, except you learn that she's doing all this, hunting after Abra Kadabra, because she lost her partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is a okay excuse to do this, but not when that's the only excuse that the show ever gives a female for doing things.
Yes, I would agree. I mean, though, I think it's more, I guess for me, I'm less bothered that it was her motivation as a female, and more that it was like a classic trope where it's like, oh man, this person's on a revenge quest because their partner was killed. And I get that like there was a romantic interest to it, but I just feel like it's been done before.
It's been done, and I just think they could like spend a little bit more time to like get creative, to think of another thing.
Yeah.
It's like Caitlin's had like these revenge quests as like Killer Frost, and just like every time they set up an evil female, I feel like it's because she has like lost her boyfriend.
Yeah, you're right. There has been no real additional motivation beyond like male-related characters.
Yeah.
Which, hey, Flash people, we know you guys do a great job every week. So give us some sweet, female-driven storylines. I would love to see a whole episode that's just Iris being not a detective, because that's not true, being a reporter, or like her working with like Gypsy and Caitlin to do something really cool.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes, not as much in this episode, but oftentimes she's really quite effective staying at Star Labs and like being the one who's whispering in Barry's ear, like, you can do this. He's down 3rd Street, turn left on 4th Street. Like, you got this, bro.
Yeah.
Tonight she was like, oh, we can't do this. We lost it. But like, usually she's very effective in that role. So like, even that like satisfies the quench of us never seeing her do her job.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I wonder what because we got that moment at the beginning with Cecile where they're all kind of talking about the future and she gets real sad. And then we get this other moment when Joe himself was like, I wish you guys had never told me. So like, you have to wonder if she herself is getting emotionally fatigued from having to deal with the weight of her own death.
Yeah, I think so. And in this instance, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just, we just have never been given a good reason why she's able to spend as much time in Star Labs as she does. Then again, that's a TV thing. Like,
right.
It's like what we made fun of Friends for, hanging out in coffee shops.
Yeah, because they would never go to work. But they had these sweet, sweet apartments. And, same thing happens in How to Get Away with Murder, How I Met Your Mother. They would never go to work. Like, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'd like to imagine that every time that she's at Star Labs, she tells her boss, I'm going to chase this real good lead. Or she's doing the Clark Kent thing, where every time they have an adventure and she's off at Star Labs, then she goes home and writes an article, and they're like, what are your sources? And she's like, they're all secret. Ha 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 ha. I'm an ace reporter. Promote me.
I'm sleeping with the Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that we would root a little bit more for her and for their relationship if she was a more fully formed character.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree. There's no argument against that idea. And I think that we're going to get a little bit more of that, like, within the next few episodes. Like, we've kind of had this season to kind of focus really on Barry's perspective of her dying.
Yes.
And we got a little bit more of her perspective when her and Barry were having that talk about whether to let Abra Kadabra go. And she's like, bro, my life is important, yes, but I believe in you. And I like that aspect where she's putting her faith in him as opposed to him trying to impose his will upon her.
I agree, and it was a little bit too virtuistic for me. I'm like, no, you're literally gonna die. Like, do everything you can. I don't know. I just would have thought I would have made that a different choice.
Oh yeah,
per se.
Maybe.
But,
I feel like there was a happy medium, but we'll get to that when we start talking about Abra Kadabra.
Abra Kadabra.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's gone around. He's stealing technology. We found out later why it is, but and then Gypsy pops in, and he tells us, though, Savatar, that he knows the identity. So tell me this: we had a justification for his magic.
Right.
They said that future technology appears to be magic for us.
Yes.
Were you happy with that explanation?
Yes. It was actually one, because it's used in a lot of like sci-fi. You hear it in everything that has to do with like Thor's world. They appear to be gods because they had advanced technology, etc. We've heard it on, I think, this show at one point as well. And it's also like in the concept of science. It's kind of a well-known like idea.
I guess his tricks are so complicated and diverse that I would have been okay with what is the villain's name who spawned off and was the first villain of Legends of Tomorrow? He had like the staff, I believe.
Oh, you're talking about Vandal Savage.
Yes.
Yes.
He seemed to have magic-like powers.
Yes.
And also in the storyline, we had the Hawk man and woman
yes.
who were reincarnated and had like magical like powers. To me, like, we've been down that road, and I would have been completely satisfied had they said he has magic-like powers and they're magic.
Well, actually,
yes,
it wasn't magic. So, like, in Legends of Tomorrow, they go as far to explain that, like, the meteor that came down was an alien meteor from Thanagar, which gave them this ability. So that also was science.
Even Vandal Savage.
Right. I mean, we have like fifth dimensional beings in other shows. But I like the idea of Abra Kadabra mostly because in his original storyline, like he was a magician after science had like basically disproven magic in his time. And so he's like, I need people to revere me as a magician. So he goes to the past to like do magic so that people like admire him because he's just super duper arrogant. And then at a certain point, he's like, wait, I can also use this for crime.
So how does he travel back in time in the comics?
He finds a time machine, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he's stuck in our version.
Yes. Which makes me wonder how he got here in the first place.
I agree.
Yeah.
Also, the big issue when you set up somebody who has, let's call it magic powers, just for the sake of argument, who has magic powers, is that's really hard to confine them and to not like mess up the like motif. For instance, we trap him at one point, and I'm like, if he could get into this glass cage and then put the security guards on there and create water, how can the pipeline hold him? At one point, Barry Allen put handcuffs on him, and he was like, "Oh shucks, shucks."
Well, I mean, we've seen that they have this nullifying technology, and it works very well on metas, but it also seems to work on non-metas as well. I mean, they explained in this episode that his powers come from like nanites or nanotechnology. So you could, if you wanted to like break it down, you could argue that the shackles and the pipeline essentially nullify those nanites or emit like a soft EMP that like disrupts their abilities.
And yet, after he gets out of the pipeline, Joe West goes to him, lets him go. It gets complicated, but he's going. And then I was so frustrated because this entire next scene happens in front of the elevator. I was waiting for it to come. And I was like, at this point, he has been freed.
Yeah.
Why is this like a magician waiting for an elevator?
Because it's cool.
Because we need to slow him down.
Totally. I liked that he waited for he's so arrogant. I actually really enjoyed the actor's portrayal of this character.
Yeah.
In that he had just the right amount of camp. That like he was on a Captain Cold level, like Wentworth Miller level of like cheesiness, campiness, but like it really worked for me. Like his phrasing and the way he moved, he was really committed.
I agree.
And so like that moment rang so true in that like he knew that there was no way they could stop him. So waiting for the elevator, he was like, sure, whatever. I have all the time in the world.
He knows he's got that bomb to throw.
Yeah.
How funny. So did you expect Joe West to come and be the one who like consults him and like lets him free?
I didn't actually. I thought that they were going to do the Barry route, but I like that it was Joe because he's been such a third party to this whole piece that I like that he's taking an active role, and he had that amazing scene with Gypsy that like you really feel his pain. So Joe kills it every week.
I completely agree.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
His energy, he's the best. He's the grounding force of the show too. I also feel like because his performance is so real, it lets people like Abra Kadabra be a little bit campier.
Yeah.
Because like the show's rooted down anyway, so it's okay. Yeah, I love that. I'm glad that they had him say savatar is and get cut off, because at least we like saw some sort of humanness in him.
Right.
It revealed like, oh, he would have told the identity.
Yeah. Though I don't like that it has become another like who is he mystery. I think it was at the beginning of this season when we were talking about alchemy, and I was saying I didn't want it to be another who is Zoom situation. And now we have another like who is Savatar, which like bothers me because I want to be able to relate and have the villain speak to me, but if I'm always wondering who he is, I can't suss out his motivation.
I think that's such a great point.
Yeah.
And it's like that suspense, just like on a, like we've done it. Mm-hmm. We did it already this season of Alchemy.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so they always show the preview before each episode of what has happened in the season just to catch you up.
Yeah.
And they specifically showed the clip again this week of Savatar saying, "I am the future Flash." Mm-hmm. And I just feel like, is that like a crazy like Easter egg? Is that like a gift they're giving us, saying like where they're gonna point to it and be like, "Look, we told you in episode 16. He said that he is the future Flash." Although, I think that I want that to me makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think that's disproven. We're jumping to the preview for next week right now. Right now.
Right now.
The preview for next week, Barry goes in the future, and we meet Crazy Barry, who has lost his girlfriend.
Right.
By Savatar.
Right.
So future Flash does not make sense if he exists with that Savatar.
That's true.
Unless it's like future Flash.
However, the Barry... So, weird time travel states that, like, essentially, Savatar's timeline goes that he exists in the future. He is trapped in the Speed Force, goes to the past, kills Iris, and then he does something else. So essentially, this Barry that that exists after Iris is destroyed, that like Abra knows of, is a different Barry that could exist at the same time as future Savatar. So like, even if, let's say that future Barry is Savatar, right?
Yes.
Then this Savatar killing Iris could essentially be the linchpin that leads to Barry becoming Savatar, which has Barry, like if you were to try to suss out his motivation, it's that Barry becomes drunk with power, let's say.
Yeah.
And then he traps himself, he goes mad, and then he blames his like old self for not allowing himself to like stop him or whatever, and then comes back, and then he starts the cycle all over again. So by the rules that have been set up by this time travel, he could exist at the same time as a future version of himself.
So it could work. Why is it also then not true? I feel like you have something to say.
I mean, I guess I more don't want it to be true, though. Like, they are laying the foundation, as you were saying. Like, he says that little piece, like, "I am the future Flash," and then also today, we got Abra Kadabra saying like he's the first speedster, which technically in this universe, Barry is the first speedster.
That's exactly right.
So, I mean, there is an argument to be said that like Barry could be Savatar.
So they also have said, producers have said that the reveal of the identity is going to blow people's minds. And of the people that we are aware of, that are in our like radar, be it the Julians and the Caitlins and the Ciscos and the Wallies, maybe Flash to me is the only identity that would blow my mind.
Oh, really?
Yes, I can't see being anybody else that would like surprise me.
So you okay. I feel like if it were either Joe or for some reason it's like Singh, or it's someone that we've met before that we haven't even thought about since the beginning, I think those would blow my mind. Like everyone else, I think I've at some point predicted.
Okay, so let's say like season 1.
Yes.
Plastique.
Okay, yes.
So Savatar rips off the helmet and it's plastique.
Yeah, I'd
Somebody like that would blow your mind, but I do not think you would be satisfied with that.
Maybe. I think I'd find it interesting. Because they'd really have to explain it.
That's like when you hear a comedian say like a really clever joke, but don't laugh out loud. You're like, that's very funny.
Yes, I get that concept. So I feel like unless it's someone that we've already met, it will mean absolutely nothing unless they explain it really well.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people right now are guessing that it's Jay. Would you be satisfied if it were like if it were Jay or if it were Wally? Because the argument could also apply towards Jay, since Jay is so much older than Barry. He could technically be qualified as like the first speedster. But who knows?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, also, I don't think it could be Wally just because like he took his place in the Speed Force.
Yeah.
And that to me like would get funky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that also shows like this have problems when they frame things like your mind is gonna get blown.
Yes, never say that, producer. Like
seriously,
because then you set up such an expectation.
It's
that
never gonna be met.
Yeah,
it's like the duet. Completely, the last episode of the musical, super freaking enjoyable. But because we knew there's a giant twist ending, I'm looking for like the Titanic to sink. Whereas Darren Criss is like, "Yo, I'm a good guy." It was like, "Oh, okay." Like it wasn't like it didn't blow my mind.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
issue.
I hope that I just hope that it's really satisfying. Like I hope they don't tease out this like who is Savatar piece, and like we get it as early as like next episode. You find out from like some future person, and then we can work towards building that character for the next like 5 or 6 episodes.
I agree. I think you're right too. Like we do miss getting to know the villain,
right,
and see his side of the story, or he or she. I also was thrown off when they made Savatar it's a suit of armor. It's a mask.
Yeah.
For a while, he was a CGI villain in like the first part of the season, and I thought that was what it was. He called himself a god of speed, and that made sense. But then we're seeing this suit, and there's something a little bit like less impressive.
Oh, really?
To me.
Okay.
And less threatening.
Yeah. I mean, it does, especially now that they've revealed that it's like a person, like it does bring down the kind of ethereal nature of the character. However, I like the aspect that it's, in the end, we're gonna, like, you realize that this person who is posturing as a god and who is always saying things like, bow to me, is just like a dude in a suit. Like, at the end of the day, he's just a guy, you know? And so, like, when we get this big reveal, like, I think it'll paint so many layers on this character that you realize that they were probably a really weak person who was given this gift, and then instead of using it for good, they used it for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, like, or at least I think that, like, they're doing a good job of painting this character from being on this pedestal, and they're slowly bringing them down to our level so that when we finally know who they are, we can look back and be like, wow, how did this person get from, let's say, Julian to this really arrogant person?
That's a really great point. Okay, so my last concern that I hope that when they do reveal the identity that they tie in, is that Abra Kadabra was from the 64th century.
Yeah.
Something like that. And yet he knows the Flash and Savatar.
Yeah.
So that is a very old person and a very old villain. So is there something like to give me a reason for that?
Well, I mean, basically, it sounds like he came back to when Flash was in his prime. Because when he first sees Barry, he's like, hey, you're so young. So you imagine he's fought adult Barry. Because he's been through all of his different rivals.
Oh.
And then recently came back to the current timeline.
If he's traveled so much, then it is curious why he then got trapped in this timeline.
Yeah.
I thought that it was really cool how he was building the time machine, collecting the parts, and that Eobard Thawne, as Old Wells, had kept the source.
Yeah.
That's cool, tying it in.
Yeah, I liked the aspect of building a time machine. It presents a few issues for me in that if the components for building a time machine all exist, and we know that they didn't know the core existed before this episode, and now it's gone forever, which kudos writers, that was a good way of introducing this idea and then taking it off the table in a way that is satisfying. But like it begs the question, like, why can't we rebuild a time machine? And I guess now we don't have a power source, but like Cisco is so handy that like they can create another time machine. Or, I mean, they could call up our friends over on Legends of Tomorrow and be like, yo, son, we need to go to the future, or I just need to hang out on your ship so we can talk to Gideon for a second and be like, yo, Gideon, who is Savatar? And then she'll be like, oh, well, Savatar is, I don't know, Julian maybe? Yeah. And then he'll be like, sweet, I'm going to use that info.
Yeah. Sometimes when we battle Savatar, no, they often do this too with the Zoom early in the season. They need to raise the stakes. Yeah. So they set him up as the god of speed, as somebody who can just destroy Barry in the battlefield, somebody who he needs to train for, needs to train Wally for. That to me, I'm like, we need to bring in the entire cast of Legends of Tomorrow to battle this guy because they've built him up so much. And then by the end of the season, we are able to defeat him with just Barry. So like there's like something that needs like equate for me in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was so fast though, but I like that it's not just a whole season of Barry being like, gotta get faster. We're taking so many different angles to solve this one problem, which I really find fascinating because we've been on such a large scale. Especially like last season, it was like, we're trying to save 2 Earths. But now we're literally just trying to save a life. Yeah. And it allows you to milk so much of this character aspects of it. And it allows you to really try to solve this one problem and utilize your characters to do that. And so I really like that. I don't think we need to raise the stakes in any additional way, because we have so many different options available to us that like bringing in the legends, even though I suggested it a while ago, I feel like it takes away from all the character pieces.
It does, and it creates a device that we cannot rely on.
Right.
As much as I love also seeing Oliver Queen pop up, we can't have him come in every episode when like the Flash needs him.
Right.
The Flash needs to learn the lessons for himself.
Well, yeah, because like the Flash would solve every Oliver Queen problem in like a minute. Yeah. So like we gotta let them live in their own worlds and solve their own problems.
Yeah. Yeah, we discussed earlier Gypsy and how her partner was killed. Mm-hmm. I found I was waiting for her to associate her pain of losing this person she's so connected to with Barry losing Iris. Yeah. To me, that's the same thing. And she took her grief over something that she could not change and placed it over over this life she could have saved. I was really waiting for her to say, I want to save Iris too. I want to do everything I can. And yes, I'm pissed, but that doesn't mean that I should like let your girlfriend die.
Right. Yes, I agree. Like there was a chance for an arc in this moment that I feel like we almost got to.
Because if not, it makes her a monster. No, I'm serious. It makes Gypsy a monster.
I mean, I wouldn't say monster though.
Her partner is already dead.
Yeah.
Barry's let's say for black and white reasons, Barry's partner will die without this name. Yeah. And she says, "I'm so sorry, but I need my revenge." Right.
Revenge.
She's sentencing her to death.
Yeah. Revenge makes you single-minded. So, like, I get that aspect. I do wish, kind of like what you were saying, that, like, at some point, like, right before she took Abra Kadabra back, she was like, hey, I get it. You right, son. Because, like, another piece of it is that they got Abra once. They've gotten him twice. So, like, if they needed that name, they could have let him go and then essentially set this trap to where he thinks he's free, and then regathered him. Yeah. But she was so single-minded in her quest for revenge that she just kind of was bulldozing all episodes.
I was really surprised by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when she was teamed up with Vibe and Wally and Barry were teamed up, like the four of them in the field, like that's just what I've been waiting all season for. They worked so well together. And they're so useful, like the way that Vibe like vibed Wally down to the ground softly when he was dying, about to die, falling. That's what we're looking for.
Yes, it was really satisfying to see, and it's also especially because you get two pairs of characters that have the same powers, so you get to see how they use them differently, and you get to see how they like combine their efforts. I wish this team was like together all the time.
Yeah.
And we should get that. Like, by the end of the season, Gypsy should become a regular. Right, Flash producers? Right, Flash writers? She's going to come back and live with Cisco and they're going to make out all the time? I think that's going to happen. I think it's what the fans want. If I were in the chat right now, I think they'd be like, oh my gosh, Gypsy, regular character, make out with Cisco. Just go.
I have nothing to contradict. I completely agree. It is almost impressive the lack of love interests that Cisco has had. Yes, he's had his little like golden glider stuff.
Yeah.
But after 3 seasons on a show, usually they introduce some sort of relationship.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know that we need it. It's just interesting.
He's had one per season. He had Golden Glider, and then second season he had his little stint with Hawk Girl, which ended real bummerfully. That's a word. And now I want this to be a thing, and they almost gave it to us, and then she pulled back, which was a bummer.
Especially because they'd kissed before.
Yeah.
And we can assume that her partner's been dead longer than that.
Yeah.
So why is it all of a sudden that this is on her mind? Maybe because she's right now with Abra
Right.
Kadabra.
Yeah,
I'll give her that one.
She's knee deep in it. I get it.
Knee-deep. Okay.
Let's
talk about the other lovers then.
No, I'm.
Are you mad I'm calling Caitlin and Raphael lovers? Wait,
Raphael?
Julian. Oh my god.
Raphael taking this whole. Anyway,
Ninja Turtles. You're mad I called them lovers.
No. But yes, I like their relationship. It's really cute.
I agree, and they're like the same type, the same level.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people will cast relationships in shows, and I'm like, you think he would go for her, or vice versa? But like they're great together, and I appreciate that they're moving slowly.
Yeah,
they had a drink one episode, you know.
And he bought her tickets to the opera because she had never gone. That was so adorable. He has really arced this season. He was such a jerk. From the first moment we met him, he was a grade A butthole. Yeah. And then now, and they even mention it this time, that his bedside manner is so good. He's like really integrating with the team. He's doing surgeries and he's falling in love. He's kissing girls. Bro, Julian, he's got it together.
He's a great member of the team too.
Yeah.
Oh, he could be the one that dies. Someone's gonna die. Yeah, I love them. And also the only thing is that like she gets her like shrapnel and other stuff stabbed inside of her. She walks him through surgery. Cool, it's going well. He saves her, and then they're pumping her back to life. Why did they not pull the necklace off earlier?
I mean, because her dying wishes as she was being surgeried on, also a word, were that she would rather die than become Killer Frost.
And I did not believe her.
I mean, I get it. It's probably better to be dead than to be someone you don't want to be.
Causing destruction.
Right. I mean, because essentially it's either sacrifice your life or hurt the people that you love and not be able to do anything about it.
Yeah, it was quite the twist ending too when she did die.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to see like where this goes with Killer Frost. One, because I'm so attached to Caitlin Snow.
Yeah.
So I like want that character to stick around, and like I'm not gonna mention that I like don't like the blonde wig because like why would we talk about that?
I mean,
but,
why would we?
Yeah, not at all. But she's on the loose now. Put that necklace back on her.
Yeah, there was a moment where they had the prime opportunity to put it back on. She like healed up, her body ate her stitches, and then they're like, man, she seems fine. And the next thing you know, you get that winter gust, and you're like, bro, y'all missed that. You got a small window, and it's closed now.
Jeez. It's crazy. It's crazy. We're almost out of time. Tell me this.
Yes?
Do you buy the excuse that HR was gone the whole time for this tryst?
You think there's something sinister about it?
No.
I mean, I like the idea that he was getting down and dirty. I mean, we know that he was into Cecile, and now that she's totally off the table, he has to, spend his time elsewhere.
I just didn't know if this was like a scheduling conflict for the actor.
Oh, got it. I mean, what else is the actor doing
I just didn't know. I mean, he's a regular. He's there.
Yeah.
But I just was so curious why he wasn't around the entire time.
Yeah.
We did not see him in the beginning, right?
Right. Well, I wonder if it's, I mean, from a writing perspective, I would imagine we're already dealing with so many characters. Like, we had 3 stories going on simultaneously. We had the Julian stuff, we had the Gypsy stuff, and the Abra Kadabra storylines. So, like, there was nowhere for him to come in and do fun drumstick things. So I feel like they were like, all right, we'll keep our characters to a minimum, and we'll just, we'll have him off having sexy times with someone.
Okay, but then don't have so many series regulars. You're not going to use them.
We need as many series regulars as possible.
I have spoken. Okay, let's go into predictions and talk about Barry going to the future.
Okay.
Okay, great.
And now, your
Ooh,
AFTERBUZZ TV.
green.
What a
For
like
those on
you.
iTunes, it's
What
green.
a like you. So Barry's giant plan is he's going to the future on a fact-finding mission.
Yeah.
He's gonna save Iris. What are your thoughts?
I
How does
love
this
this
affect
plan.
things? Do you?
I love it because this is the first time they're using the ability to go to the future to their advantage. They've been obsessing over the future for the last 800 episodes.
Right.
And I like that they're finally being like, hey, why don't we use this to our advantage, the fact that time travel exists, and get some information. See, you can't ruin the future, Barry. So, do some stuff there. You're already trying to change it, so it's not like you're going to step on a lizard and cause humanity to not exist or something to that effect.
So if we run into the future, do some stuff, and then we change the present, does that timeline just go off on its own, like a Flashpoint style?
Yes, it disappears from existence. So in a lot of time travel shows, essentially, especially when people travel to the future, especially a dystopian future, there's always this moment where they're like, oh, we'd rather you erase this existence than to have ever existed this way.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not gonna lie, these are actually my favorite storylines. I love terrible futures, being able to journey and see what could have happened to our heroes, and then going back and changing it.
Fascinating.
It's so good.
Any concrete predictions?
Concrete predictions. I'm going to reaffirm that I think that Julian is Savatar. I think it makes the most sense for his character. I guess we've kind of blown apart my previous theory that Caitlin Snow is Savatar, because I think everyone keeps referring to Savatar as a he, so we can't really have that happen. I also think that this would be really fun to me if future Barry tried to take the place of past Barry or present Barry, so that he can spend more time with Iris. So I'm going to make that prediction because it's highly specific. Probably not going to happen, but I think it'd be fascinating.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to watch.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I think she would suspect it.
Maybe.
Not just because that haircut.
But, oh my gosh.
Those bangs.
That haircut. It was like he was wearing the Oliver Queen flashback wig, which was so good.
I just imagine him like going back to the present from the future with that hair and just like being with Iris and just crying in her arms. And she's like, Barry, what's going on?
That'd be great. It would be so dark. But I would love every moment of it.
The future looks dark, though. Oh, my God. Okay, well, we are back April 25th. We have 4 weeks off. I guess that'll bring us to the May 20th, even closer.
Ooh.
Oh, my God. Tauri, this has been so much fun. Where can the good people find you until next time?
You can find me at Tauri J. That's TauriJay. You can also find me here on AfterBuzz TV on all the ABTV DC CW shows, with the exception of Legends of Tomorrow, which I'm on sometimes. But Supergirl, this, Arrow, and then the season finale of Grimm, which is none of those things, on Sunday. Please tune in if you love it.
Oh my God, you're so busy. And I also do the Foster's After Show on Freeform, and I have the interview series called LGBTQ&A, getting to know different queer and trans and people in the community. It's really fun. I'm on Twitter at JeffMasters1. We'll see you on the 25th. Goodbye.
Bye!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.